Experts are predicting another year of a hot housing market in 2022. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over what the housing market is supposed to be looking like in the year 2022. Now, basically, the experts are predicting that, hey, that market's still going to be hot, okay? We're not going to be facing any sort of crash or, the bubble isn't going to burst. Prices are going to continue to rise. And guess what? I agree, okay, with the way that things are going with inflation and the slow rate that they're going to increase the interest rates. I don't see a huge drop in housing prices, at least not nationally. Maybe some of the small localities might see some drops, but not, even that seems like a stretch, okay? Now, before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. Do you think the prices in the real estate market are going to continue to rise all throughout 2022? Do you think that, interest rates are, if they go up, it's going to have any sort of effect? Do you think inflation is going to cause, these prices to rise? And what do you think you're going to be doing in terms of your real estate investing and your real estate investments for the year 2022? All right, so this article is coming from GoBankingRates.com, and it says, experts predict what the housing market will look like in 2022. And let's get into it. Let's see if their predictions are any different than my own. Out of luck home buyers who had hoped housing prices would finally drop in 2022 will be only partially satisfied in the coming year. It's almost universally accepted that the market will cool, but not enough to see prices fall, only to rise by less. In 2022, house prices are set to rise by 11% in the U.S., said Kurt Walker, CEO of Cream City Home Buyers. This is still a step down from the previous year's price hike of 19.5%. However, predominantly, the market will still advantage sellers over buyers. The market will remain competitive, with home sales predicted to increase another 6.6%. That, however, is just one trend shaping up as last year's historic seller's market continues into 2022. Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing that I know for a fact right now. I'm not selling anything in 2022. I'm going to hold every single property that I own right now, and hopefully I'm going to buy some more because, my strategy for the long term has been to buy and hold real estate. Now, I have sold property. I sold 2 properties back in 2020, but I did a 1031 exchange so that I could buy more real estate with the proceeds, okay? So that was what I considered, trading up so that I could acquire more properties. That wasn't selling and then, keeping the proceeds or any of that mess, okay? So it's a seller's market, but my opinion is that if you want to build wealth long term, holding is the best way to go about doing things. Now, I'm glad to see that prices are going to continue to rise. My expectation is that prices are never going to truly go down. There might be little blips where they go down temporarily, but they're going to be going up long term. And that's where I want to see it because this is my wealth building strategy. This is why I bought so much real estate. Prices will rise most where cost of living is low. The urban exodus that defines so much of the pandemic will likely extend into 2022 as professionals continue to be liberated from the pricey metro areas where their jobs once compelled them to live. I expect to see inventory expand nationally, but we'll see shortages in desired markets with buyers' continued migration from cities to the suburbs, said Steve Johnston, founder and CEO of Ideal Agent. This will be fueled in part by major corporations' adoption of permanent work from home or hybrid work policies. As more city dwellers are able to leave high-priced urban centers without giving up their high-paying jobs, they'll get to work pricing locals out of their once affordable enclaves in rural America and the burbs. Yeah, and we are seeing this everywhere, okay? So basically, all those people from those places like California, which, historically have been more expensive, well, they're getting priced out, okay? When you're telling me that, hey, the regular middle-class person can't afford to purchase a home in, California, in Southern California, in Northern California, in New York, in, on the East Coast, Excuse me. Well, they're going to look for places where they can afford to buy a home. And guess what? They're also looking for places with lower taxes, lower government regulation, and places where they have more personal freedom. Excuse me again. Oh. So, yeah, they're looking at places like Texas and Florida. Those are two big ones right there. I mean, there's a lot of states where people are moving, but hey, Texas and Florida have been the biggest beneficiaries of all of this. And we could throw Nevada and Arizona in there, and of course, Georgia even. And a lot of the times, the reason why is because, hey, these places are still building housing, okay? They didn't put a whole bunch of crazy regulations on the building of new housing, and they're just going out and they're building a ton of it. Now, the prices have gone up in these areas, but by comparison, I mean, even the most expensive part of Florida, down in Miami, is still super duper cheap if you compare it to living in Manhattan or living in San Francisco, okay? So people are still going to want to live there going into the future because they know, hey, I'm getting a great deal. On top of that, they don't have to pay that state income tax because Florida doesn't have one. And you get great weather on top of it. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of incentives right now for people to get the heck out of these super expensive old places. And if they have a job where they can telework, or if they can work from home, or if they own their own business where they have the flexibility to move to these places, that's exactly what they're doing. Now, even in the case where they can't move out of state, guess what? They're leaving the urban core and they are going to the suburbs, okay? Because there is no reason for you to be living in Midtown Manhattan when, hey, everywhere you go, you have to have your coronavirus vaccine passport, and you have to wear a mask everywhere. But if you go out in the suburbs, you don't have to do any of that. So yeah, we're talking about personal freedoms on top of that, and lower cost of living. You might still have to pay those high state taxes, but hey, guess what? The housing is still cheaper in New York suburbs than they are right in the middle of town. So yeah, let's keep going. For 2022, the competition amongst home buyers in suburban and rural areas will be fierce, said Chuck Vanderstelt, real estate broker and founder of QuadWalls.com. Compared to 2021, homes in any geographic market in the lowest 30% bracket are likely to appreciate at 7 to 10%. However, homes priced in the range of 40 to 90% of a geographic market will appreciate 4 to 8%. Homes in the top 10% in any geographic area are likely to see the biggest hit in 2022. I am predicting those homes to be flat to plus 2% compared to 2021 home prices. So yeah, let's dive into that real quick. Basically, it says that homes in the lowest 30% bracket are going to appreciate at 7 to 10%. So I own a few homes here in Omaha, Nebraska, and they would be considered in the lowest price bracket for new homes, right? Or for existing homes. And guess what? I am going to get the most appreciation out of those homes because the people on the lowest end of the market who want to buy, they are dealing with very limited amount of housing stock right now. There just isn't a lot of it out there. So a house that I paid $125,000 for back in 2016, guess what? Now it's worth $205,000, and we're 5-6 years later. So I mean, I made out a lot. And the next year, I expect to see another 10% increase on top of that. So the place could be worth $225. I mean, it's good if you are a real estate investor and you own a bunch of properties like I do. Scorned buyers will re-enter the market. Part of the reason that home values are expected to keep rising in 2022, albeit by less, is that demand never fell. It just went into hibernation as buyers priced out of 2021's red-hot market were forced into rentals. Many of them still want to buy homes. Disenfranchised buyers from 2021, encouraged by still low interest rates and stabilizing home prices, will re-enter the market, offering sellers new opportunities to maximize the return on their equity, Johnston said. Many others, however, will keep right on renting, sending prices up even further. Yeah, and a lot of the people who were looking for homes to buy, they just couldn't find them. And what they did, they just gave up. They started renting. So going into 2022, there still is a shortage of houses that are affordable for the majority of people. So a lot of those people who are renting and decided to go, they're just going to keep renting. So this is good for landlords. This is very good for landlords and good for real estate investors. Now, if you are looking to sell your property, this is good for you as well, because you're going to get a premium on that price going into the next year. And, I don't know if this is a permanent change to the real estate market, but it seems like we're going to get to the point eventually where a lot of people are going to be renters going into the future, and there's not going to be as many home owners, because I just don't think that the price of new homes is going to stay balanced with the median household income. I just don't. So, that's a very interesting topic here. I hope 2022 is good. I hope 2023 and going on into the future is good as well. But, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen.